Welcome to another episode of Nick Has No Idea What He's Doing. Today we're giving our shop truck its 1-year checkup. We got this thing done last October and it's just been getting beat on ever since, so we're going to take it inside, stick it on the rack, and really just make sure the thing's not going to break in half. It's got a couple little issues I know need to be addressed that we're going to handle today, and we're going to see if we can find anything else with it. So let's get what's in the shop out and this in. So one of the things that's on the list of things that we knew we had to do already is on the front shocks here, the lower coil cone hits my limit strap tab. The reason this does this is my previous set of shocks that I had a raised coil cone on them, and when I swapped these on, I didn't have them. Just kind of put it together. These are the new coil cones we're going to put on. So this is the first order of business. These are pretty easy to swap. So we'll drop the limit strap, come down a little bit with the axle, get the bolt out, pull that cone off, swap it in, and we're moving. So we're going to handle this and then get on to the next thing. So now that we got the shock unbolted down there, we obviously got to pull the preload off the spring to where we can get that coil cone off. The taller coil cone is going to mess with our ride height a little bit, so there's not really a need for us to check what it was at before. Plus I'm trying to pick the front end up just a little more, get some more up travel out of it. So we're going to just kind of set this thing up and set the ride height when it's back on the ground. Next step's getting this new lower coil cone on. I like to kind of push these up and force them over onto the bottom of the shock eyelet or top of the shock eyelet to kind of bind it all in place while I put the locking hardware on it. So let's see if we can do that on this one. So just like that, new cone's on. So as you can see, if you come around to the front here, now we got all the clearance that we need for that limit strap tab. So we're going to button this side up, get the other side done, set the ride height to where we think we want it to be, and move on to the next. Cool. So my go-to when I'm bolt checking things is I'll start by checking all my jam nuts. So we'll start with that. Then I'll come through and make sure all my bolts are still tight. And then from there, I kind of just look at everything that's welded to the frame, take a peek at everything, make sure nothing's cracking, wanting to tear off. And if all that's good, we'll button the front up and move to the back and see what kind of stuff we got going on there. I've also got Austin down here helping me. Austin cares a lot more about bolt checking and being on top of maintenance than I do. So this guy will probably be the reason why my truck lives another year.
We'll see.
We'll see. You can see my driveline's taking a bit of a beating, but I got it out of some thick stuff so that I could. Everything still seems good. Give it a little shake to the U-joints. That one's got a little bit of slop in it. We might end up swapping that out. Come take a look at my carrier bearing. Make sure that thing is still blown out. And actually, I have a billet carrier bearing for it, and it will be a nice upgrade. But my concern is that when I get rid of this nice loose and sloppy rubber carrier bearing and put a billet one in there, if my driveline's bent or a little bit out of round in any way, it's going to give me lots of vibration. So I actually am going to leave this because I think this is what's making the driveline turn nice and smooth.
When do you think you'll upgrade to some gas pipe drive line?
I don't know, man. Once I find some gas pipe laying around, really.
I got some.
You got some?
Oh yeah,
Let me
you
get
don't
some.
just throw that kind of stuff away.
Obviously, you see we got a high clearance muffler here. Costs double to get one of these over what they normally are. But like you hit it and bend it once and then
One time.
That's all you need. Changes the way it sounds, so I've got a real
I got a high
custom
clearance exhaust like all through here on mine.
I can't really catch it right now, so I'm not gonna stress it too much, but I think that this wheel bearing is getting loose. Doesn't seem like the ball joints because you can't really see them moving. I've been waiting for those ball joints to break. I really want to switch to a ball joint eliminator up top and just get rid of that wear item altogether. But everything looks pretty decent. This front end's pretty tough. We bulletproofed it to the best of our abilities, you know, without going too crazy. So it's got a 538 gear set in it, has an ARB air locker up front. Yukon chromoly shafts, 35 spline inner and outer. Got the super joints on here that actually need to be greased because I haven't greased them since I put the truck together. Got the Yukon locking hubs on here. Everything else is pretty straightforward, just factory kind of brakes, big heavy ones. 12-inch coilovers, 2-inch by 2-inch travel Fox air bumps. This thing's bumped and strapped to like 11 and a half inches up front. Another thing is with a 14-inch shock, you get a lot of lateral movement in those last 2 to 3 inches of travel that really can affect you at speed. It's where you get your bump steer from. It's where you get the truck shifting side to side as you go up and down. And with the 12-inch shock, it just keeps you in this range where it doesn't do anything unpredictable. It has no funky characteristics whatsoever. And it just does everything you need it to, you know? It drives down the street good, it rock crawls great still. It's got like 4 feet of flex with 12-inch shocks. Got five and a half inches of up travel on the thing. In the front, I think the rear's about 8 inches. I'd actually like to measure that when we get this thing back on the ground. Ooh, look at that guy. Steering. You guys see I got a custom tie rod here. Call it the high clearance bend. Another thing I like to do, because I feel like it makes life a little easier, is I like to put like all of my right hand thread stuff on one side and all my left hand thread stuff on the other side. That way you can kind of know, obviously, right? Tighten that one, and that one all the same. And then when you get over there, they're all the same.
The left hand has a little notch in it.
The left hand does have a little notch in it. I should have actually adjusted my steering wheel to be straight, but whatever. I know I got a socket that fits this, but I'm here with a wrench, so. Make sure that one's good. I can't really get in there, so I'm just gonna call that one good. Cool, jam nuts look good. Had 2 loose ones. That's why we check them, right? So one of the things that we changed from this rendition of the kit to what we have out now is we've made this out of a thicker material. This is 3/16 and we run a weld washer on it. So now we run them out a quarter. That keeps us from having to put the weld washers on it. And I'm hoping it'll save you from bending these too, because these things have seen better days. This skid plate has saved me a lot. This is a design in which I will be releasing soon to go with the kits. I'll have like a specific cross member for the skid plates. This will all be like a bolt in and bolt out design that people can buy and add onto their kits whenever they choose. Got the bolts going in through the back and the front instead of through the bottom, so you don't just gall those things up, dragging them over rocks. It's a lot easier to work on. These are nice and slotted, so as you start bending this thing and it doesn't want to fit back on the car the exact same way, you can still make it work. Another thing that I'm really surprised about is that my gas tank is still alive. I haven't drug it on as much stuff as I thought I would have by now. But I mean, seeing how much I hit the driveline and did this, I'd be stupid not to think that this thing's been getting smacked. So another thing we're working on as a product is gonna be a skid plate for the gas tank. I see a lot of people make them, but they all bolt to the gas tank itself. I don't really like that. So we're gonna be coming out with a design that goes to here, probably comes under and bolts to the frame on this side. It'll start here and have a nice little skid to lead you onto it. We're just kind of learning as we go, figuring out what products we want to build out of necessity as much as, you know, building products out of what we think is cool. Our kits obviously have a full-length frame plate that goes from here to here. This thing does not, because this was obviously the first one I built it on, and it is showing a couple signs that I knew we'd run into. One of the things is you can see where we clearance this thing for the pan hard bar to go. It's starting to crack the frame a little bit here. And on the top side, which I'll show you in a sec, it's got a little crack in the frame as well. It's mind-blowing how much load this tube transfers from side to side from the panhard bar. I don't think I'm gonna fix it right now. I'm just gonna keep going until it fully breaks, which will probably be at the most inconvenient time possible, and I'll be kicking myself for not fixing it right now, but it's kind of what dudes do, right? Make bad decisions and just...
I've made plenty of bad decisions myself.
Yeah, a time or two, plenty of times. Yeah, and I think I'm finally gonna mount the license plate somewhere that doesn't get destroyed. Probably put some nutserts in the tailgate and go here.
No, you gotta embed it in the tailgate.
Ooh,
sideways.
like a mini trucker?
Yeah.
Can we shave the tailgate handle too?
Only if you can tell it it's been shaved.
Of course, yeah. Well, we just prime it and leave it so that...
That's what I was thinking.
What, people think we're rich? Paint over stuff? No. She looks pretty good. This taillight's been hit like 3 times now and it's still trucking. Weight reduction. So the back of this truck's been working fantastic. It's got the same length shock that we have on the front, just a 2.5 by 12. The whole nature of our kits is really trying to keep all your suspension under the vehicle, under the bed, under the inner fender. Keep it out of your way to where it doesn't affect your day-to-day use of the truck. It doesn't affect your ability to take it out in the weather, out in the snow. You want to have a camper shell on the truck and you want to keep everything dry. We like to keep everything under the fender, you know, and with the 12-inch shock in the back, we're able to pull 15 inches of wheel travel on this thing. We're working on a trailing arm that'll allow you to run a 14-inch coilover on this exact setup. That gives you 18 inches of wheel travel. I really don't see the need for more with my setup, you know. I think everyone's got different opinions on what they want, what they like, but in my opinion, if you have 12 inches of travel up front, you don't need 20 inches in the back because you're never going to be able to get that thing to really work the way you want it to. Sure, crawling, you got a little more flex and everything's cool and dandy, but going fast, trying to have a suspension that works and complements the front and complements the rear. I'm a firm believer in all my travel numbers being somewhat similar to themselves. It's just what works for me, you know? A lot of people have different opinions and that's not a big deal, but my opinion is that this is the way. I think we're about good on bolt checking this thing. What did we find?
Just cross member bolts, really.
And nothing was too bad, huh?
No.
Had a couple loose jam nuts. We touched on why I still got my blown out carrier bearing. We still have a gas tank that holds fluid. Isn't this thing supposed to have like a skid plate on it? Like a factory plastic one? Is this a factory plastic one? No, this thing I think is short of skid plate. I don't know. I'm very pleased with this truck. Everything I've set out to get done with it, it's done. It hasn't given me any issues. I mean, it's a Toyota. What do? They don't brake. They just keep running and running.
Turn gasoline into noise.
Yeah, they take money and turn it into fun. There's a couple things that we're gonna upgrade on this thing, trying to get it all done before King of the Hammers. We're gonna hopefully build some new bumpers for it. I keep having issues where I just keep banging this thing into everything. So I'm gonna redesign this a little bit and try and shorten the bumper up a few inches and give it some more of an actual skid to where I don't have a big anchor hanging off the back. Definitely gonna get this skid plate on the gas tank before King of the Hammers. And we're also gonna build a new front bumper. We recently partnered with KC Highlights, and so we're gonna be building a new bumper that accepts our Flex Arrow light bar. I've got a 30-inch bar from KC over there that's gonna go in our new bumper. We're gonna hide some accessories behind the grill, just some more lights and things like that. So there's definitely some things we gotta do before we take this thing to Hammers. Just hoping that we got time. Yeah, take a look at this. Driving through all those stupid trees the other day. For what? For nothing.
Yeah, we didn't even hit the cool trails.
Didn't even hit the cool trails. Just did some poser shots. Look at this though, custom body. Oh yeah. No, no. Ooh, fixed. To the right? Yeah, right there. That's a switch right there. I'm really struggling. Your poor girlfriend. There you go.
Oh wow, are those the hurricane lights from
The
KC?
the cyclones, yeah.
Oh, cyclones.
I was originally going to mount them like here, but when they face out towards you, they blind the shit out of you. They work pretty good though. Hopefully I don't ever have to need them, but if I do, we got them. Yeah, let's bleed the brakes real quick, or just the rears. some bullshit. The question is, do we leave it or do we take it out?
I got a screwdriver.
No, I'd say just leave it. Maybe do a burnout until I get a couple sparks or something.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
we should screw it in tighter. So
Ooh. Can you torque it?
to spec.
No, don't.
Like your wheel lugs.
Don't flex on us with that, dude. We don't need to. Courtney needs to keep her pants on. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be messy. And you broke my wheel bearing up front?
That was Frank.
I hate that guy.
What's up with these grease guns? Just
Pissing me off.
I think it is operator error because I just have an electric one that just.
Oh. Are you going to help me?
Yeah. Oh man,
What'd you do?
you got catalytic converter still.
You got jizzed on?
God,
Damn.
my new jeans.
Those are new?
They were yesterday.
Well, you got jizzed on, dude. Sorry. So that's it for today's episode. You know, we had to address a couple little things, but nothing too major at all. The truck's done me well. We lifted it about an inch today, bled the brakes again, greased a couple things, tightened whatever was loose, and this thing's ready for another year of daily driving, crawling, pre-running, all that good stuff. So make sure to like, subscribe, talk trash in the comments, whatever you got to do. Make sure to stay tuned next week because we're going to be doing a bit of a build vlog on this. This thing's about the same as our red truck. It's got our kits front and rear, Fox shocks front and rear, fresh set of 40s, and battle-born wheels with a nice custom powder coat color. What's this color called?
Barg's root beer.
Whatever.